Let's say you move to a newly inhabited island. Thousands of others have arrived, forming families of widely different sizes. Now you need to set up rules and choose leaders. How do you design a fair voting system? Do you give every single person one vote, which means massive families mathematically dominate all the decisions? Or do you give every family exactly one vote, leaving huge chunks of the population completely underrepresented? That exact mathematical problem is what 55 men faced in May of 1787. They locked themselves inside the Pennsylvania State House in Philadelphia, barring the press and the public so they could debate in total secrecy. The urgency driving this secrecy came from the fact that their current operating system, the Articles of Confederation, was rapidly failing. The national government was too weak to enforce trade laws or manage debts. Once inside, the delegates quickly reached a consensus on the absolute basics. They needed to engineer a stronger national framework, and its power had to be divided across legislative, executive, and judicial branches. But agreeing on the basics was the easy part. Building a system that could actually balance the competing interests of 13 fiercely independent factions was a massive engineering problem. If they failed, the young nation was going to tear itself apart. The first major system crash occurred over representation. The Virginia delegation proposed a structure where political power scaled directly with population size. As this chart shows, states with larger populations would carry massive visual weight and completely control the new national legislature. Delegates from the smaller states panicked and immediately fired back with a counterproposal called the New Jersey Plan, gets exactly one equal vote, realigning the power dynamics so a tiny population holds the exact same mathematical weight as a huge one. The convention became hopelessly deadlocked over this single issue. For weeks, the debate grew so bitter that the entire gathering was in danger of dissolving. To break the stalemate, a special committee engineered the Connecticut Compromise. This schematic reveals a two-part legislative structure. In the House of Representatives, power scales dynamically based on population size. In the Senate, the math is fixed. Every state gets exactly 2 equal pillars of representation. To keep the states unified, the founders had to abandon pure logic and install a hybrid, pragmatic patch. But the deepest divide in the room was over an entirely different economy. Southern states relied heavily on agricultural exports like cotton and tobacco, and that massive output was fueled entirely by enslaved labor. When it came to representation, Southern delegates demanded that enslaved people be counted to boost their political power in Congress. Yet simultaneously, they insisted enslaved people should be completely ignored when determining how much the state owed in national taxes. Northern delegates took the exact opposite stance. Since they had very few enslaved people, they wanted them counted strictly to maximize Southern tax burdens while excluding them from the political representation tallies. The resulting agreement was a cold mathematical calculation. This visualization breaks down the 3/5 compromise, where only 3 out of every 5 enslaved people would be counted for both representation quotas and tax ledgers. They also agreed to completely block Congress from banning the slave trade before the year 1808. The delegates chose to secure the political machinery of the moment by compromising on human lives. They purposefully deferred a catastrophic moral issue to future generations. With the legislature mapped out, the convention turned to the final major design hurdle. Who actually sits at the controls of this newly engineered machine? They needed a way to elect a president that avoided the chaos of direct democracy while preventing the tyranny of a lifelong monarch. The solution was a limited 4-year term, decided by the Electoral College system. The core operating system of the United States was built on calculated trade-offs and delayed consequences, rather than pure moral philosophy. By September 17, 1787, the blueprint was finished and signed by 39 delegates. But this document was not yet the law of the land. It still had to be ratified by 9 of the 13 states. A group known as the Federalists launched a massive public relations campaign to sell this powerful new central government. They published more than 80 essays to defend the system. Their opponents, the Anti-Federalists, pushed back aggressively. They argued that drafting an entirely new government in secret was extra-legal, and they pointed out a glaring flaw. The document lacked explicit, guaranteed protections for everyday citizens. To secure the crucial final votes required for ratification, the Federalists had to make a massive concession. They promised that the very first order of business for the new government would be passing a comprehensive list of individual rights. On March 4, 1789, Congress met for the first time in Federal Hall in New York City. True to the promise, James Madison immediately introduced the set of amendments that would officially become the Bill of Rights. The 1787 convention produced a messy, pragmatic architecture, an operating system whose true genius lies in its ability to be patched, amended, and improved by the generations that follow.